Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom in which we speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And today's news was the biggest yet, I think, out of KABN. With us, David Lukacs, CEO of KABN Systems North America, though that may not be the name for long, trades on the CSC out of the stock symbol KABN. For those of you new to the story, that's going to be a lot of you because the stock today hit an all-time closing high, 38 cents. On about 1 million shares in volume. Don't have the final volume number yet, but big day. That means a lot of you here are going to be watching for the first time. So what you need to know is that KABN is a North American fintech company, okay? But more than that, they empower individuals to manage, control, and generate value from their biometrically verified self-sovereign identity, okay? What does that mean? Because it's all done through this liquid avatar platform. For those of you who are watching, we're going to explain it. But what we need to know is KABN turns the problem of data privacy into a profit for individuals by giving us control and ability to monetize our online identities. And that all became necessary, as you know, because the Facebook data scandal that broke a couple of years ago that created sweeping changes around the world in terms of laws and legislation. So that also provides big businesses with new compliant business models. So if you want to reach a certain type of user, you're going through Liquid Avatar in order to pinpoint and profit share and all of that. So it's fantastic. It's genius. And here to talk about the big cut news today is David. Welcome back, man.
Thanks, George. Great to be here as always.
Big news today. I like this one. KABN, I'm reading it. KABN North America launches Liquid Avatar app in the Apple Store and Google Play. That's a really big milestone for the company. But before we get into what that means, we do have a lot of new viewers. So what's the layman overview? Because you're beyond an avatar, you're beyond the avatar. What's the layman overview of why Liquid Avatar is like critical to how the world is going to be going forward?
Well, that's a big question, George, and I probably could take an hour just to answer that one, but I'll try and make it really short. The world is changing with regulations that are in Europe, in California, changing in Canada, in Australia, and other countries around the world. Data and the ownership of identity is being put back into the hands of people where it belongs, in the hands of the users. That's really important. But how do you manage all these data points? How do you manage all these access points? How do you manage all the critical information that you're dealing with? It's really important at the end of the day that we have a way to manage that. And so we came up with Liquid Avatar. Liquid Avatar empowers users to manage, control, and ultimately benefit from the use of their identity and data. So we've made it easy. We think of digital identity today as something foreign and new, but we've been dealing with regular identity, for eons. Facial recognition. I know you, therefore I know you, right? Because I can see you. So we're taking the same things you do in the physical world, and we're taking them to the digital world, and we're putting the power back into your hands on cloud with a cloud-based biometrically verified solution.
And what makes Liquid Avatar so powerful, right, is the fact that you've got so many different kinds of data and things that you want to keep to yourself. You've got your Amazon credit card, you got your PayPal, you've got your health records, you've got so many different things that you essentially are going to need to organize all of those in one place, just like in our wallet, right? When I go
Right.
out, I've got my health card, my driver's license, my credit card, all of it. We just carry those things around. But in the digital world, we've got so much more. In fact, David, we were talking the other day, you said we'll have hundreds of credentials that we'll need to carry with us. COVID-19 tests that certify that we're clean or vaccinated, so many. And that's why Liquid Avatar, correct, is going to play a huge role in managing all of that and in a really cool, fun way at the same time.
Yeah, George. I mean, if you think about passwords alone, how many different passwords you have, why should you be typing in a password? If you had a verified credential that used your biometric, you can get into a site just like that. I mean, there's so many different touch points. And I know I did say hundreds, but I probably said hundreds, if not thousands of credentials, different touch points, different things you're doing today. Think of education, information services. But more importantly, George, it's all in different silos of our personality. I might have a work persona, a family persona, a gaming persona, a sports buddies persona, whatever it is. I segment my life online into silos, and Liquid Avatar, as it comes out in phases, will be able to allow you to create those silos by different avatars to represent different facets of your personality. And you'll be able to connect different data points to that as well.
And is there any doubt? I know there are a lot of people watch this for the first time who think, wow, that just, that's a blow away. I don't see that happening. But if you think about when we first started, we were an email address, and then we were a social media profile. And it just seems like it's advancing. But, do you have any doubt in your mind that we are all going to be avatars online, but more than just avatars, more than just George with black hair and a funny nose or something like that, that it's going to be our actual different identities, one for work, one for play, one for social? Any doubt about that whatsoever?
George, anyone just has to look to Ready Player One or Second Life, that was way ahead of its time. And to be candid, and you and I go back many years when, some of our earlier endeavors where, we helped create the way that Canadians use credit cards online. And everybody told me that no one would shop online. No one's ever going to shop online.
True. People told me
Right?
there wouldn't be investor relations online back in 2000.
Right. So,
Are you crazy? It'll never be online.
Well, all we have to do is look at the change in media. I mean, look at Netflix. Netflix would have never survived in the 90s. I mean, Amazon. I mean, there's been this disruptors and innovators. What we think of ourselves as a disruptor, but what we do is we power other disruptors, because we're giving other disruptors the ability, like someone who does COVID testing. Well, go do a COVID test. How can you prove when you present that credential that person is who they say they are?
Because we had that guy at the Toronto airport that came with a forged document. So I got the document and it says Bob Jones on it, but in fact, I'm George Cholas. But
right.
They had to figure that out.
We connect the 2 points. So we're empowering individuals and empowering ecosystems and empowering, commercial opportunities to make sure that the people they're dealing with are real. I mean, when you think about the credit card industry alone, it's a $30 billion issue with identity fraud. And everybody says, well, don't worry. And you see the advertisements, we got you covered. But really, at the end of the day,
you're paying for it though. The rates are so high because all that crap is taking place.
Even if we took half of that out of the marketplace in identity fraud, plus all the friction that it causes, right? Not only the fraud itself, but all the friction, all the time and the effort. And we decided a while ago, in fact, at the early stage, that we would be a cloud-based service, not an edge-based service. So what's the difference? You've heard these horror stories about people losing their password or losing their phone with $1 million worth of Bitcoin on it, right? Yeah. That's an edge device. That's an edge wallet. It's cheap and cheerful, right? You put it on your phone, and if you lose it, too bad, right? Or you lose something. We're cloud-based services. When you do biometrics with us, you're doing it from your phone, not on your phone. When you store data, you're storing it in biometrically controlled containers that you control in the cloud, not through us. We've gone the route to make this really what we believe is valuable to an industry and to the consumer. And frankly, businesses, governments, everyone's starting to take a look at this.
Well, didn't Ontario recently announce, and I got to admit, I've been bullish on KABN, Liquid Avatar, from day one. A lot of people were scratching their heads and couldn't figure it out, but they are now. That's why, hence the 52-week closing high. But I was surprised when the Ontario government last week said, by the end of this year, we want credentials to be verified and identifiable, all that. That threw me. I did not think that was going to come this fast.
Right. And I won't comment on that.
Okay. You won't? Okay. You're smiling like a Cheshire cat.
No, I'm not commenting.
I know you're not commenting, but there's a great thing about video. You're smiling. So
I'm a happy guy, George. We're launching an app.
I'll infer what I want, and I let everybody else infer what I want. But now
everybody should do their own due diligence. Remember that. Everybody should do their own due diligence.
Yeah, we always say that at the end. That's for sure. But, I'll even say things like, and we'll hop deeper, but thinking about examples, when I want to coach my kids' soccer teams or whatever, now you have to provide a criminal clearance. So you're not a sex offender. So you got to go. You got all these things now will be inside my liquid avatar. Right?
Agreed. My daughter has a master's in medical science, and she did in some of her volunteer work. She worked on the kids helpline, and she had to go through a police check.
Well, there you go. So Matt,
So even
I got to
the
go through those
newest,
police checks like a couple of times a year. It's like if I can just have it now on my
yeah.
phone to liquid avatar, it's like, hey, here you go. That's credential and it's biometrically verified. That's actually me. So for everyone at home, think about you can all probably think about the dozens of examples at the very least that you all have. Forget about maybe even hundreds of examples for other people. So let's go into why today is such a big day. This self-sovereign identity. Now, everyone at home, when we say self-sovereign identity, you now know what we're talking about. Okay. So the great thing about self-sovereign identity, it applies to everybody.
But
Not everybody does certain things on the web, but this is something that's going to apply to everybody.
And if I can interrupt for just a second, George, I want to give everybody sort of a primer on this. So we've heard about Google wallets and Apple wallets on your phone. Those are not self-sovereign wallets. You do not control that wallet. The hardware or the software manufacturer controls that wallet. That is not a self-sovereign wallet. It is an edge-based wallet, and it's a great product. I will not take anything away from that, but you are not ultimately in 100% control of what goes in there or what can or cannot go in there. A self-sovereign wallet or self-sovereign identity means that you are in control. It's just like my wallet like this. I decide what goes in there, right? And I decide what goes on my key ring. These are self-sovereign. I'm in control. If someone else is in control of something at any point, and we're not, because you're biometrically controlling everything, it's yours, then if someone else is controlling it, it's not self-sovereign. It is digital identity, no doubt, because it's digital and it's identity. But ultimately, if a hardware or software manufacturer determines that you couldn't put this in here or that in there, that's no longer self-sovereign.
Yeah,
We're a complete self-sovereign play.
So let's talk about, even before we go into this news about the App Store, let's talk about how you're going to make money from this. How are you going to generate? What's the business model for your shareholders?
It's actually really simple. It really is. So if you think about it, when companies advertise on social media and online, there is so much spillage. There's so much wasted money because you're not reaching either you're not reaching a real audience, or you're not reaching 100% or a targeted audience. It's really hard for marketers to reach a tunnel vision to an audience that they need to get to. But because we use biometric controls, it means one user in our system and one account. You can change your email address, you can change your password, you can do all that stuff, but you can't change your face, can't change long-term your fingerprints, any of your DNA issues. So you're one user and you're a known and verified user. Now we can't sell or rent your data, which we don't do, but we do have inside the app an offering section. So like-minded vendors that might meet your criteria will be available to you to take advantage of offers. When you take advantage of that offer, you buy, you do something with that vendor, we get a piece of the action. That's it.
Yeah, and that's great. So here I am. I know I'm going to get stuff that I asked for that's meant for my demographic, even though you don't know me by personally who I am. You're not giving that data away, but I'm getting the offers that I want finally. And advertisers are willing to pay for that. Marketers are willing to pay for that.
And even more so, if the efficiencies are there, they'll give you a better deal because they're not wasting money trying to reach an audience that doesn't exist. There's no fakes, nor bots, no hacks.
So then the one key in this business plan is you need to achieve scale. The great thing is legislation is helping you do that, because this isn't just David Lukács of KABN wants everyone to use this. Well, I want everyone to use Agoracom, but it doesn't mean people are going to. But the difference with KABN is there are strict rules that have come into play in Europe, in the US, even in Canada coming in, that will no longer allow data to be sold. The old way of transacting and how to get offers to George have been really significantly cut. So you're almost forcing all business to go towards self-sovereign ID. Even the businesses want their people to have self-sovereign ID at the end of the day, right?
That's very true. You think about it. We think of ourselves as of what we're doing as sort of the fourth leg of the chair. If you think about when the internet came about, digital identity wasn't possible because of the technology and the requirement and the layers to get this happen. And organizations like Trust Over IP, which we belong to, and our steering committee member. It's important to understand that digital identity is a very tough thing to achieve. So digital identity wasn't part of the original internet design. And, it's been said, and I've said this before on the show, that, inserting digital identity into the internet today is like changing an airplane jet engine in mid-flight without disturbing the passengers. It's hard. And we've taken years and a lot of manpower, a lot of time and energy to get here. And so at the end of the day, we're really focused on where we need to bring digital identity and make it work. And so as a fourth leg of a chair, you think of the first leg as search. Everybody uses search. Everybody has a browser. Everybody does communication online. So we think the fourth leg of that chair that is addressable to 100% of the online market is digital identity. Now, we're looking to try and grab a slice of a 5 billion person pie that's online today. So we know it's a big pie. We know there's going to be other people out there doing something similar or different. That's fine. We're partnering and collaborating with some of thosthose people. If you go to trustoverip.org, you're going to see some of our collaborators. Some of them are in sort of the same space, different space, but we all seem to be collaborating really well because it's such a large market. It will take a village to raise a child here.
Yeah, you don't need to be the only guy doing this at the end of the day.
And we won't.
And that's not going to exist anyways.
No. And as much as, a lot of us use Chrome, some of us use Firefox, some of us use Brave, some of us still use Safari or Edge, there's lots of different browsers. And for communication, we use Skype, WhatsApp, Signal,
Discord, on and on and on and
Oh
on.
my gosh, it just goes on.
So it's fair to say, David, though, that KABN, Liquid Avatar, is in that top tier echelon.
I would say personally, I believe that. And again, up to everyone else to make their own decision. But we believe we're at the forefront, and we're seeing a lot of organizations starting to chat with us. They're taking us very seriously because they're going to get people back to work. They're going to have to be able to make sure that, Fred's test belongs to Fred. Getting a test is one thing. Making sure it belongs to Fred is another.
Look, I'm excited about the future of this. So the fact that you guys have kind of shown that whatever you've said you're going to do, and you told everyone back when you first went public in the summer in August, say, hey, we're going to move. Here is the pace we're going to move at, and here we are. Phase 1 is kind of official. So let's talk about that.
Right.
It's phase 1 in the App Store. So everyone should be searching for Liquid Avatar, either on Google Play or in the Apple Store. I wish I could show it to you, but the way the green screen works, it completely messes up and actually turns me into an avatar. But what's phase 1, and how many and why the stage phases?
Well, again, we think of digital identity as a challenge for most people and something to assimilate to. So the best way I describe it is if you have a pet at home, you know how difficult it is to give a pet a pill. It's for some of us, I have a big dog, it's easy. I know that you have a small dog, it's probably a little more difficult. People with cats, it's a nightmare. So we think of digital identity as a pill. So what do you do to give your pet a pill? Usually put it in peanut butter, cheese, salami, you do something to get so we think of Liquid Avatar as sort of the peanut butter around the issue of digital identity. We want to make it fun. We want to make it engaging. It is a utility. So keep in mind, this isn't the latest game, by EA or someone else. This is not, it's going to take time for this to assimilate and sort of like a snowball rolling down a hill gets bigger and bigger. But phase 1 for us is getting the foundational piece into people's hands, getting them the ability to biometrically engage, getting them to create their first avatar, letting them play and search around, allowing them to share their avatar with others, connect certain data to that avatar for sharing. Because if we give them the fundamentals, there's an old adage, and it's probably not the most polite one, but I'll use it anyways. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? And
That's a great one. You
I
can't
know, but
eat
if you're a
all at once.
vegetarian or a vegan, I apologize.
No, geez, get out of here. But okay, so that's the reason for phase one, phase
Right.
two. You don't want to overwhelm
No.
George and Mary on day one. So phase one, make it easy. Create. Do you got something maybe you can show us?
Yeah, in fact, I do. But before I do that, I want to talk about phase 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
In the release, people will have an opportunity to read what's in phase 2, 3, and 4. And it's exciting. It's augmented reality with Imagine AR, friends at Imagine AR. It's our card program with our friends at XTM. There's a lot of bells and whistles coming. It's,
They're coming fast. Phase 2, late March. Phase 3, end of April. Phase 4, end of May. This isn't like a 1-year rollout or something like that. This is actually with phase 4 being augmented reality at the end, which I think is pretty damn cool.
Well, and then there's more phases to come after that. But
sure,
I also want to say that we raised money in December, and we put it to we were already on track, but we put it to good use, and we're still very well funded. But we put this money to good use immediately. So the results of the people who invest in us in December are showing at the end of January, early February. We think that is a testament to our team, which is the greatest team I've ever worked with, and to our stakeholders and our supporters. They put faith in us, gave us capital in December, and we're delivering on time and on budget. Yeah. So if I can, just bear with me because I've got to do a couple things, but I'm gonna share my screen, and this is just a little taste. Everybody else can have their own view, so bear with me. I'm going to share my screen and go from there. So for those that, I'm going to try and move this out of the way. For those that can see this, once you've signed in biometrically and you've gone through your startup, you'll come to what we call a dashboard, and the dashboard has manage your avatar. It has community. I'll go through this very quickly. Digital wallet, KABN card, view offers, read and share an avatar. And let me, pardon me while I just put on my glasses because it's a little more easier for me. But if I go to manage my avatar, so you can see that when you do share an avatar, it's got a barcode, and that barcode will only contain the information that you deem to want to share publicly. And I can go in and I can edit, I can edit my avatar, and so I could, right now there's thousands and thousands of combinations, and we have at least 1,000 more different combinations and great stuff coming in the next release. But I could change my skin tone. So I want to be a little more robotic, and maybe I want to change my hair color. And I'm already tuned in to a male avatar, and we're gender neutral at the beginning. You can pick what you identify with. I could change my hair.
Oh, I got so because you already identify as male, then all the avatars are male.
My eyes. I can change my nose, my chin, my mouth, my facial hair.
Hey, if you really do a good job, you can actually fulfill your dream of looking like me.
I tried that. That's the only combination we didn't have. So, and then I can save it, and you can see that my avatar gets saved, and it takes a couple seconds. I'm actually plugged in. So, it comes back, and then I go to,
and this is the fun part, right? This is the part I like. That's so powerful that this is the fun part of it.
Right.
But the real utility is the great part.
Right. And so, there's a community of all the people I'm connected with, and you can see all of them. Right. And then I can go to, I can go back to my dashboard, and I can now, right now, the digital wallet isn't enabled. So we have a place marker here for the digital wallet. And it's got tutorial apps and all kinds of stuff that's there now. You can sign up for the KABN card. This is our Visa debit card. I'm already on the wait list. You can go into offers, and this is the KABN Cash platform. And again, this is going out to the web, so it's It's web connected. It's a separate site. So it does take,
Yeah. So yeah, for everyone at home,
this will be optimized.
this is
And
not
please,
how long it takes. This is the more like a demo web demo thing as
yeah,
opposed to the actual
and
app.
keep in mind that we'll be optimizing as we go. So I can see all these great cashback offers that I can get for stuff. And this is the Canadian site. We have a US site too. So, you know, I can get cash back from all these sites and do that. I can, you know, and then I
Hey,
can
so
share my avatar.
David, so right there, let's say I've been vaccinated, for example,
Mhm.
right? That'll show up in there at some point, correct?
Yeah.
Where it'll be now, would that be a
That will be in your digital wallet, and
okay?
there'll be a demo coming of that. But with your credentials, so right now you do what we call KYC1 or ID1, and that's just your biometric. To get a verifiable credential, your first verifiable credential will be your verifiable identity. So we're going to work on identifying you as being you, and you'll have that credential in your wallet, and that's coming, I believe, in phase 3. So I'm not sitting in front of the release, but it's in phase 3, your digital wallet. And we're building that fast and furious, and we're tearing up ground to get that done. And we've hired some of the best engineers in the industry to do that. So that's really great. Now I'm going to show this, and we pre-populated this just to make it easy, but I can share my avatar, and takes a sec. Oops, there we go. And I can share it with different people, and I can share it in different formats, right? So if I go to my Gmail, I can share that. And again, you can see that my avatar is already populated. So
Now,
I
when you're
share that with
sharing
only,
that, you're not going to be just sending me an image at the end of the day. If I've got Liquid Avatar, the app on my end,
you can click on it and it'll open up right in your app and save your information. Now you and me are connected, and now I can share private information. Your avatar and your barcode only contain private information that you determine, public information, my apologies, public information that you determine at all times. It
yeah.
never
So
shares.
if it's business, because hey, here's my phone number and my email address and my mailing
Right.
address.
Right.
If it's if it's Amazon or something like that, here's my PayPal account. Here's my Amazon Prime, membership number or whatever the case is. So it'll be very, very. You put in once and it's there forever to share only what you want with who you want at the end of the day.
Right. We share what you want, and we've trademarked it. We share what you want, when you want, and with whom you want. It's really important because, but when you share it initially with someone, it's always public information. Because, George, if you said this is really cool and you forward it on to a friend, I wouldn't want that friend to get anything but public information. So we put in kind of all kinds of safeguards. We're putting in other safeguards as we go, and it's not even in the phase yet, and we're working on it. We're putting in what we call data guardianship, so that if you have minors in the house that go to school and you need an educational verifiable credential, you can manage that for your children. If you're traveling and someone needs to get your medical records, you could put your wife on the data guardianship, and she would have access to your data in case there's an unfortunate event. So there's lots of things we're planning for and working on as we would in the real world. Sneak peeking, we're starting to think about, how hot NFTs are. Well, liquid avatars,
What's that? Well, for everyone at home, NFT is
a non-fungible token.
token.
Yeah. So we're thinking about how could liquid avatars and things that we're doing become NFTs. Like, there's so much. This is a behemoth, and we've got to tame it and keep it into phases. And we've been able to do that really well. So once you do your first foundational level and work with that layer, by the time you turn around and you shared it with people, it'll be time for the next version.
Great start. And by the way, we should mention the fact that you also announced yesterday or the day before that you received approval to change the name of the company to Liquid Avatar Technologies from KABN Networks North America.
Yeah.
Why the change? Because obviously it's not like you guys are changing businesses or something like that.
No.
What does this signify to the world and with respect to how far Liquid Avatars come and how much emphasis? Because before KABN was the emphasis, but it seems like Liquid Avatar is really taking the front seat now. Does that signify to the world that you guys are confident in being able to roll it out and create a really commercially viable product?
Well, I think, George, it's important, to go where the business is, and the company is very fortunate. Our KABN products exist, and they will continue to exist. But Liquid Avatar is what everyone seems to be gravitating towards, and we saw that early. And you and I have had these discussions. How cool everybody thinks the name is, and we're really fortunate that that has happened. And it's just going to be sort of the personification of who we are. You've seen a lot of companies, move towards their brand, and we believe the company is still early enough in its development to by changing now, we don't lose a whole lot of brand equity. And as we expand as a public company to other regions, now was the right time to do it. Take advantage of it now as we're building the brand equity, and Liquid Avatar is taking the spotlight.
When do you guys think the name change will take place? I think the press release said you could do it anytime next 30, 45 days. When do you think all that'll take place?
I don't think it's a big deal because we've already approved it as a corporation, and the directors had the ability to do that. But we still need to do some business work, and we still need to do some work with the exchange. We are, as anyone would with a name change, considering potentially a symbol change, and we've got some reserves in place. And I can't tell you what it is, but I think everybody, if they thought the name KABN and the KABN was cool, this will be, we hope, will be just as cool.
Yeah, and I got to admit, look, cool factor matters, right? And if you're new to KABN, because of what's been happening in the market and all the activity on the company, just go to liquidavatar.com. Just do that. Not only does it look cool, but it's also a great explanation as to what Liquid Avatar does. Because for new people, you're going to have to get that education. But man, it's exciting, David. Great to see phase 1 officially launch, and can't wait for phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and we'll be there before summer.
Yeah.
And then that's a full blown out product. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm bullish on self-sovereign identity. I know I'm going to be using it, not because of our relationship with David, just because it's something I've always wanted at the end of the day. And I'm sure there's a lot of people around the world that feel the same way. So congratulations, man. And, enjoy today for the day, and then we'll celebrate, and then we'll look forward to phase 2.
Well, George, as I often say to our team, as hard as this is, the easy part is over.
The hardest stuff is coming.
Yeah, well, it's still it's an uphill climb. We've got a lot of plans, and we're building something very big here, and it takes time and energy and resources, and I can't thank everyone enough for all their support.
Well, listen, the market obviously loves what you're doing. It's starting to understand what you're doing. And when the market really understands where Liquid Avatar is going, I don't know. I think it's going to be a game changer, and going to the next phase of how we transact and socialize online. Love it. Congratulations.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait to see you next time.
Take care. Thanks so much, George, for having me today.
For everybody at home, you've been watching, or if you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, or your favorite podcast platform, to David Lukacs, CEO of KABN Systems North America, soon to be Liquid Avatar Technologies. So we won't be using that name for too much longer. For now, KABN. Let's see what the new symbol is going to be on the CSE. Do your due diligence. Get to Agoracom. We've got all kind of laid out there for you. And then click over. I say go straight to liquidavatar.com. Take a look at everything there. Make sure you've done your due diligence. I've tried to pound home the fact that self-sovereign identity is going to be big in our future. Whether KABN and Liquid Avatar are part of that's up for you to decide. We can't tell you. But a year from now, don't say I didn't tell you so. Have a great day. See you next time.